So fascial line stretching is essentially just a way that we can kind of organize and utilize these myofascial lines for the sake of total body stretching and mobilization. So for these stretches, there are a few inherent things that we want to see, whether we're working through anterior, posterior, lateral, or spiral. And really the first premise is starting with the feet and with the hands. Because these myofascial lines run throughout the body and they run from distal extremities, we want to make sure that we are actively pressurizing or making sure that we are active with that foot pattern and pressure. So if Kai were to get into a split stance here, we want to make sure that we are melting that front foot down, so kind of opening the toes up, trying to create as much surface area as we can, and then almost kind of slightly pulling the heel towards the body on that front leg. On the back side, you see she has really good bend through the toe box, that heel's nice and high, stiff through the midfoot, and on the back leg, we're almost thinking kind of pushing that ground back and away so that we're getting good contractility through the glute, and that's going to create good pelvic stability as we're going through movements in that split stance position. As for the hands, so we have Kai take the bar overhead here. It's very easy to just be kind of sloppy at the wrists or just not really be too attentive to hand grip, but we want to make sure that we have a good closed grip on the bar. Wrists are staying neutral. She's kind of torquing her elbows back, trying to create tension through that bar, and that's going to give us good contractility and tensioning throughout these myofascial lines, which is then going to give us more out of that stretch pattern. The other things that we want to be very mindful of on these fascial line stretches is paying very close attention to the breath. So for breath work, the way that I'll cue all of these movements and the way that we'll initiate all of these movements is start by taking a big inhale through the nose and then slowly exhaling as she goes through these patterns. And the way that we're going to determine the end range of the movement is that once that exhale finishes, I'm going to have her stop at that point, take a couple of deep breaths, and then rebreathe as she comes back to the top. So the breath is a way that we can not only coordinate the fluidity of the movement, but then also to kind of get some motion at end range through that inhale, exhale. The last thing that we want to make sure that we're mindful of on this is that we are kind of coordinating all of these different constituent parts. So being very intuitive with the body, and we always want to have motion. Nothing should be static throughout these stretches. So when we're at end range, whether that's through breath or it's through contraction, we'll have pulsing or oscillatory type motions with this. We always want to be in motion. So even though we'll do these for time durations, we're going to treat them as reps, and these are all things that we're going to see in the subsequent videos.